G'day guys, how you doing? It's the Kiwi, back with another video. And in this video we're going to be talking about following your dreams. And the reason why I'm doing this video is I listened to a video from Mike Rowe a little while ago where he says, don't follow your dreams. And it's really interesting because where Mike Rowe ended up in life was because he followed his dreams. The majority of us as human beings end up where we are in some way, shape or form because we've followed some sort of dream or passion or desire. Now the reality of the situation is many of us don't end up doing our dream job. We actually end up doing something that's even more amazing, and that is we end up doing something that we've become passionate about, which Mike Rowe also mentions. What we're sitting beside here right now is a vehicle that I've been building over the last 6 to 8 months. It will end up becoming the world's fastest vehicle in its category once we're done with it. And I know that 100% because back in 2007 I was part of a very small yet talented group of hard-working hot rodders here in Ventura County, where we converted an old land speed racing vehicle into what became Speed Demon, the original Speed Demon, which started the most dominant land speed racing legacy in history. There's not another car on the planet that has broken more land speed records than George Poteet's car, Speed Demon. And I had very privileged to have had a very big hand in that vehicle back in 2007. So when this company, where I'm at right now, were getting ready to start on this vehicle, they reached out to me because of the fact that I'd left behind a really solid reputation, and that solid reputation is in the vehicle known as Speed Demon. I'll leave a video below where you can actually get to see the car that I was involved in running at Bonneville. But anyway, the reason why I say follow your dream is you're going to end up putting yourself in different positions in life. You're going to put yourself in different situations, different jobs, in regards to pursuing that dream. And what's going to come from that is you're going to end up becoming extremely good at something else. Some of you will actually end up succeeding at your dreams. Some of you will actually end up doing very well and actually live your dream. However, the majority of us will actually end up doing something that we never really thought that we would be passionate about. We'll end up doing something inadvertently that is a repercussion or a carryover of a skill set that we learned while trying to get involved with our dream, trying to find our dream, trying to pursue our dream. A good example is this vehicle that we're sitting beside right now. What I did when I was a young guy, 21 years of age, I wanted to become a racing car driver. I wanted to get involved in motorsport and become a racing driver. I wanted to do all this amazing stuff. So I was a very green and extremely naive New Zealander that landed here in the United States when I was 21 years of age. And I started going around knocking on all these different shop doors, trying to get work around racing, because I figured if I put myself in a position where I could be around racing and motorsport, I would be able to, one day maybe get a drive, maybe end up getting a position where I could actually end up racing a car, etc. And like I said, that was incredibly naive. And what I ended up doing, or fortunately, I ended up getting a job rebuilding classic race cars. Now, one of those cars happened to be Porsche 550-04. It was the Panamericana Mexico Road Race Porsche, and that car is now in the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart. There was an old timer by the name of Dave Kent who took me under his arm, and we actually, I worked along beside him, and he helped hone a skill set that I'd already started to learn. I was involved in the auto body industry in New Zealand, panel beating, and because of the fact that back in the 80s we had to build or rebuild the cars, I already had a reasonable skill set as far as being able to do sheet metal shaping, using wheeling machines, rolls, that sort of stuff. So Dave took that skill set that I already had and built on that with me. So I became actually really pretty good at doing sheet metal fabrication. So what happened was I started to put myself in other jobs and other positions over the next few years, whether or not it was in New Zealand when I lived in New Zealand, or Australia. I worked in the V8 super touring car industry for a little while for Dick Johnson Racing in Aussie, and was involved in the building of the first of the EA V8 Ford Falcons, which was ruled illegal, but that's another whole story. But my point is this, is I put myself in these positions, and as I was putting myself in these positions to be around motorsport, to try to become a racing car driver, I was inadvertently learning a skill set. And I had always, for some reason, and I don't know where this came from, but I always had this mindset that I learned when I was about 16 years of age, 15, 16 years of age, was become as good as you can possibly become at something. Because if you can become as good as you can possibly become at a given job or task, you're always going to have work. You're always going to have employment. So even though I was wanting to become this racing car driver, what I was doing was I was still focusing on becoming as good as I could possibly become at this. So what happened was my skill set grew and grew and grew. Finally, I got a job as an IndyCar mechanic. I worked for a number of different teams doing IndyCar racing, etc., etc. Now, at that time, I was looking at transitioning from IndyCar over to Formula One, and there was this old boy that I knew, guy's name was Jerry Hone. Jerry Hone used to be an extremely highly respected engineer slash fabricator in the F1 world. The first job that Ron Dennis ever had, who was the principal of McLaren Motorsports, or McLaren International, was actually working under Jerry Hone at Brabham. Jerry in the 60s was the head fabricator and slash engineer for Brabham Racing in England. So Jerry was very, very well schooled. He had a real good understanding of the industry. And he said, you know what, mate, we can get you a job at McLaren, no problem at all, mate. But, you know, the issue is this. You're going to be one of 3,000 people, mate. And you're just going to be a number. And you're going to just end up working on this part right here, mate. And, you know, with the skill set that you already got, Lawrence, you should build on that. You know, you should really, you know, develop that skill set, because in time, it's going to be a highly desirable skill set to have. Because what Jerry saw at the time was he realized that people that can do this sort of work, and we'll do a walk around of this vehicle, but what he realized was that the people that can do this work would becoming less and less and less. And he just knew that at some point in time, I would not be short of work in any way, shape, or form. And that's literally what has happened. In my pursuit of wanting to become a racing car driver and putting myself in these different positions over the years, I'd inadvertently learned an incredibly valuable skill set. These hands are worth millions of dollars. It's a fact. I mean, I've just started a business with a gentleman up in Washington, and I know that that's going to end up becoming a multi-million-dollar company. And it's based around this stuff. It's based around fabrication. It's based around building stuff for the automotive industry. But my point is this, is that by pursuing my dream, I had become extremely good at something else. And by becoming extremely good at something else, and having this mindset of becoming as good as I could possibly become at what I do, I had become a very, very sought after person in regards to what we are doing today. And as I speak right now, not only can I sit back and say that, a car like this is going to end up being in the record books, I can also say that I have multiple vehicles now that are in museums. I have 550-04, the Panamericana Mexico road race winning Porsche of 1955. That's in Porsche's museum in Stuttgart, and an incredibly significant vehicle to Porsche because it was the first real car that had successfully won some races for Porsche overseas. The original Speed Demon, which I said I'll leave a video of it in the description section below. That vehicle is now in a museum back east in the United States. Again, an incredibly significant vehicle that I can 100% say that I was involved with. And I never would have thought in a million years that I would have ended up doing what I'm doing and becoming who I am becoming. And it's incredible too, because with the world today and what's happening in the world today, people that do this sort of work are becoming less and less and less. That absolutely blows my mind. And it's because of the fact that I feel like the younger generation just don't have the patience and the time to want to learn to do something. They want everything like this today. And to learn something like this, I can tell you right now, in years to come, once I'm dead and gone, anybody that can do this work is going to become incredibly sought after, because there's really nobody out there that can do this stuff now to the level that we're doing it. Well, there is people out there that can do it, but it used to be this many, now it's like this many. So it's very, very interesting. But that's why I say, I believe in my heart of hearts that if you follow your dream, your desires, your passion, and whatever it is that you're doing, you might want to be a famous singer, for argument's sake, but you're putting yourself in the music industry. Whatever you're doing in the music industry, if you focus on what you're doing in the meantime, and trying to become the best that you can possibly become at whatever it is that you're doing in the music industry while you're still trying to become a singer, you'll start to learn over time that you've become extremely good at something else while your singing is pretty average, And this is what happens to the majority of us. So like I said, I believe wholeheartedly that if you follow your dreams, if you follow your passion in life, you're going to end up doing something that is going to be incredibly valuable to yourself in the long run. And that's all I've got to say on the subject right now, to be quite honest with you. What I'm going to do for the next video, I'll talk about, I believe right now, that right here, right now is the best time for you young guys to get involved in a trade. Like, seriously. The next video I'll do will be on that subject because, man, oh man, things are going to get really, really interesting here. And the world is going to need people to keep everything going. It's true. So until the next video, guys.